Stephen A., after a celebratory day in Houston, devastating news. Talk to me.
Well, it's devastating on a lot of fronts. It's devastating to Deshaun Watson. I mean, this is not the first ACL injury he's had in his career. Obviously, the previous one was about 3 years ago in college. We wish him nothing but the best. He hasn't just been spectacular as a rookie on the field, but his philanthropy off the field in terms of assisting folks with the hurricane catastrophe, not to mention the fact that, forfeiting his game check and things of that nature. His heart's in the right place. He just seems to have that it factor on every level. When you consider the history of the Houston Texans, the Matt Schaubs of the world, the Yates of the world, the Brock Osweiler of the world, and so on and so forth. Even Tom Savage, even though he'll be starting again this Sunday. Deshaun Watson just brought something different and something special to the Houston Texans that clearly they've been devoid of in franchise history at the quarterback position. So to see him, a rookie, to infuse that kind of fervor, that energy, that special it factor into this franchise, it's devastating for him. It's devastating for them. And to be honest with you, it's devastating for us because we enjoyed watching him, particularly when you consider the fact that he's fresh off that epic performance against Russell Wilson, that epic encounter that they went at with them going at each other in Seattle last weekend. It's just really, really sad that this happened to him, but it's a part of football, and we all recognize that injuries are a part of the game. This happened in practice or for some regular play. There was nothing major. The players aren't getting touched in practice, so it's just a freak kind of injury that's definitely, something that's relatively common. It can happen. It has happened to folks on the football field in a practice environment, whether it be training camp or beyond. And it's just really, really sad. That's the emotion that really rakes through you right now. It's sadness because this kid was having a special kind of season and I believe was en route to winning Rookie of the Year. And now this happens.
Mm-hmm. It is really sad. It's sad for Deshaun Watson. I mean, as you said, this guy was having a record-setting rookie performance. But the thing is, I'm going to tell you this. Deshaun's likely to be okay. I mean, we've seen these kind of knee injuries really, really derail somebody like RG3's career to some extent. But on the other side of the equation, there's guys like Randall Cunningham who tore their ACL, who were both run-pass option type guys, running threats, passing threats. And Randall Cunningham came back to be able to fulfill all that potential, all that hope. So Deshaun Watson's career at this point, I think, still is bright. It still is shiny. What's over is his season. And sadly for the Houston Texans, so is theirs. There's no way that Tom Savage or Matt McGloin or whoever else they bring in, TJ Yates, is taking this team to the playoffs. That's just the sad truth. But I'm not here to hate on Houston Texans fans. By the way, Stephen A., in fact, what I'd like to do is apologize to Houston Texans fans. Because if I remember correctly, I was with you in Philadelphia on the day they selected Deshaun Watson. You got on to teams like the Bears for passing on Deshaun Watson, and I said the Texans were committing quarterback malpractice on their fans by not signing a guy like Romo and putting their stellar defense and playoff hopes on a rookie quarterback's shoulders. I was wrong. Deshaun Watson's the truth. Deshaun Watson is amazing. Deshaun Watson, you got to know how big this is coming from me, was outperforming Dak Prescott from a year ago. I mean, we see it in the numbers. His QBR over the number of games he started was better than what Dak was doing last year. And Dak, at that time, was on record-setting performance. That's how good Deshaun Watson was this season. So it's devastating for Houston Texans fan. I was walking around. Sometimes ESPN is a little bit like those commercials, Stephen A., where, you're hanging out, and over there is a star quarterback. Over there is a famous coach.
Right.
I'm in the hallways yesterday, and Herm Edwards is yelling across the cubicles, yelling about Houston Texans fans. It's like dating the prom queen. You've been fighting for the date, fighting for the date, fighting for the date, and you finally got the date with the prom queen, meaning looking for a quarterback all these years. And the minute you get the date, she leaves you for the star football player. That's how close the Texans were to having a quarterback to take them somewhere.
Well, let me say this.
It's just not going to be this year.
Let me say this to you. I'm not ready to rule out this year. And first of all, before I even get to that point, let me say I applaud you for admitting that you're wrong. Once in a while. I mean, you're usually wrong, but you rarely admit it. So it's very big of you to step up today and to do that. I'm proud of you. You've already shown inside of 2 or 3 minutes that you're growing, you're maturing already. Being on a set, yours truly has that kind of impact on you. That's point number one.
Integrity. It It was always there.
Excuse me, rookie, zip it. I'm talking. Wait your turn. Point number 2, you've got the schedule here that's going on, right? This is why I would tell you, Will, that we can't rule out the possibility of the Texans still making the playoffs. I know it's daunting. I certainly wouldn't put them as a favorite, but I'm not ready to say they're finished. Here's why. They've got 2 games against the Colts coming up. 2 games before the season ends. 2 games against the Colts, a game against Arizona, a game against Baltimore, a game against San Francisco. So I'm talking about, you got about 5 games right there that are very, very winnable for them, no matter who's quarterbacking for them. So I take that into consideration. Again, if your defense shows up, they've got one of the top 3 running attacks in the game of football. They've got the number 1 offense. Deshaun Watson obviously had everything to do with that.
Everything to do with that.
Lamar Miller's no scrub, though. Lamar Miller's no scrub.
No.
DeAndre Hopkins is no scrub. I mean, remember, he scored on the screenplay, and the next thing you know, he scampered 72 yards. You've got playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. And again, your competition is suspect. So it's not really about Houston. It's also about who they play against. And I think even with Savage, they could beat some of these teams.
Delusional.